Well, guys, it's been over a month since the 2024 presidential election where President Trump won big. Now, Stephen A. Smith has said that he didn't, I should actually say, vote for Donald Trump. He keeps saying that he voted for Kamala Harris, but his actions post-election really make you scratch your head and wonder, did this man secretly vote for Trump? Because lately, guys, Stephen A. Smith seems to be making too much sense. Okay? Even before the election, man, I was actually doing videos on Stephen A. Smith, and it seems like he was waking up. But of course, publicly, he couldn't come out there and say, hey, I vote for Trump. Now, Stephen A. Smith considers himself an independent, even though he says he's only voted Republican one time for Chris Christie. I don't know what year it actually was. Okay? But Stephen A. Smith has been on a rampage, destroying Democrats. Stephen A., why do you continue to vote for Democrats? Now, he was actually on Pat Bet-David's podcast months ago, and he said if his mother was alive today, she would actually be voting Republican. He said that. But why on God's green earth, Stephen A., are you still voting Democrat? Now, January 6th, guys. We have now found out that there were at least 26 feds in the crowd on January 6th. The conspiracy theorists were right. And now Stephen A. Smith, man, he is coming out and destroying the Democrats for their lies about January 6th. He has woken up. So we must react to this clip here of Stephen Anthony Smith talking about January 6th. Here we go.
Some politics before we get on out of here, as we've now entered the final month of Joe Biden's presidency. And for the sake of argument, it hasn't been a good one. The Democrats lost the White House, Senate, and House in the November election. Meanwhile, this week, FBI Director Christopher Wray announced plans to resign at the end of the Biden administration as President-elect Donald Trump takes office in January. The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. So 23 folks for the FBI were in the crowd. And we're just finding that out. Didn't hear anything about that for the election.
Of course
Didn't hear
not.
anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee, by President Biden before her, by Democrats in both the House and the Senate as they articulated the belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged, the Democrats are this or that, they're talking about us, but look at what they do. We don't know all the details. It's a report. Justice Department comes out with this. That's not my big issue. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. Where's the $1.5 billion that was given to the Democratic Party?
They blew it, Stephen A. They blew it. Kamala Harris was not good with the money, and that money's gone. It's gone.
Where is it? Where'd the money go? Why was Oprah given $2.5 million? Why was Al Sharpton's National Action Network given that much money? Before interviews, by the way. Why? I think it was $500K.
$500K
for the National Action Network. Why?
Yep.
I want to be clear. I don't have any problem with the National Action Network taking that money because they don't have a lot of money. I have more of a problem with Oprah taking $2.5 million when she's worth over $1 billion. But speaking to us as if her heart and soul was so immersed in supporting Kamala Harris.
You know what? Maybe it wasn't, guys. If Kamala paid me $2.5 million, and let's just say I was corrupt and I took the money, let's say I didn't believe in her, I'm going to go out there and be the biggest proponent for Kamala Harris because she gave me $2.5 million. Now, Oprah, she is a billionaire. She didn't really need that money. Okay?
Well, then why didn't you do it for free? I'm just asking. I'm just asking these things because I think it's important. And I think that the time has arrived where we have to stop letting stuff go all the time, particularly when it comes to the left. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, you know, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? You know what I'm getting to the Democratic Party? You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right. I would love to argue with Sean Hannity. How can I? Do you know what Sean Hannity used to do to me when I told him Kamala Harris had a chance?
Oh, this is good right here. This is good right here.
He'd laugh.
I would laugh
literally,
too.
genuinely giggle. He'd go on TV and put on a straight face to y'all. You got to be concerned. This election could go either way. He laughed. He wasn't concerned about her. Before I called out Biden.
All right, I'm going to stop right there real quick. I remember when we found out that Kamala Harris is going to be nominee, I laughed too. I knew that she was going to be a terrible pick. And I remember, man, I was texting my mother, I believe. I was like, man, she's going to get blown out. And I was right. She got blown out.
He was calling Biden Sleepy Joe.
My brother was calling Biden Sleepy Joe too. He knew that Biden was dead.
Percolating on social media today. Just go and look at it, y'all. Joe Biden is caught napping at an African summit in Angola for at least a full minute. They didn't say whether he was snoring or not. That's about all that was missing. But he was clearly asleep. I'm not going to pardon my son. I want to state for the record, I have no problem with him pardoning Hunter Biden. I had a problem with him trying to act like it was unjust what was being done in pursuit of getting after my son because they wanted to get to me. All you had to say was, I'm pardoning my son because he's my son. You couldn't just say that, though. You know why you couldn't say that, President Biden? Because you had been telling us it was the last thing that you were going to do.
Biden has been around in politics for 50 years. Okay? When Biden said that he wasn't going to pardon his son, everyone knew he was going to pardon his son. Biden has been known as a liar for 50 years. Remember, he actually dropped out of previous presidential elections like in the 80s because this man was caught lying. Because Biden is a liar.
And why did you say that? Why did Karine Jean-Pierre, remember how she said he will absolutely not pardon his son? It's all over social media right now.
But she's
They kept saying it. It's everywhere. How many times did the Democrats tell us no one's above the law? No one's above the law. No one's above the law. Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, Elizabeth Warren, who makes you feel like your soul is going to hell if you don't agree to her, with her.
Well, she's a communist, so.
Inconsistency after inconsistency after inconsistency. We can argue policies. We can argue politics all day long. But the Democrats worked really, really diligently to make the case that the right had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right instead of them.
He was right. Trump was right.
He didn't just get to raise his fist on election night as a victor. He's been raising it every night ever since for one different issue after another that he keeps winning because he keeps highlighting what they lied about. I'm sick of it. I have nothing to say. Enjoy y'all weekend. I got to get to Vegas.
Yeah, so you see that right there, guys. Stephen A. exploding on the Democrats for lying. January 6th, Biden, all this stuff. Stephen A. knew better. Maybe, just maybe now, Stephen A. will actually wake up, man, and stop voting for Democrats. You've been voting Democrat your whole life, man. And this version of the Democratic Party has to be the most incompetent. Look at the people, man, they actually put up for president. Joe Biden was half dead in 2020, and Kamala Harris is dumber than a bag of rocks. But you still went out there and voted for them, Stephen A. And then when you noticed that, and Stephen A. noticed that Biden was done beforehand, he's like, we need a new president. We need a new president. Then Kamala comes on the scene, and the only thing he says about voting for her is, she got my vote. Why? Oh, because Trump is going to cause a civil war. Trump is going to cause a civil war. But even though it definitely seems like Stephen A. agrees with Trump policies when Kamala Harris didn't have any. Yeah. Gonna leave right there, guys. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.